begins, this little box jumps up on your screen, I believe, and you have to click the word "got it." I think that's what it still says, where it says "got it." You click it, it goes out of the way. So again, the setup is two chairs, backs of chairs facing in, kind of like parallel bars, with enough room in here for some space, but not so far away that you have to go too far to get to them. And then on your third chair, you have it a little bit back from that space, and you face forward. I'm just going to turn sideways for a moment so that you can see I'm scooting to the front edge of this chair and practicing, very importantly, the structural relationship between pelvis, spinal column, rib cage, and shoulder blades and arms, neck, and head. So a lot of times we've got funky
I
relation.
turned up the volume.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me, Ellen?
Yeah, very little.
Oh, try to turn up your volume on your computer. Usually, am I soft for everybody, or is it just for Ellen?
Just
No.
for, you're fine.
Okay, so Ellen, usually it's on your end. You need to click
Oh,
the volume button. I don't know what laptop you have or computer, but for me, it's at the top row of my keyboard on the right side. There's like a little, looks like a little speaker.
yeah.
And if you tap, 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 usually that goes up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to mute everybody. Okay. So whether it's today's class, which is essentially lower body Tai Chi, or Friday's class, which is sort of both, but more of the upper body choreography and movement, we start in this same little series because it gets everything set. So you keep facing forward. You just keep facing forward. I'm turning sideways so you can see some of these angles, so that if there's any slouching, which then usually the head has to kind of lift up like this. I'm exaggerating, of course. But what we want to look for is the pelvis tipped to just a little bit forward. So the lower back area is just slightly drawn in rather than collapsing back. And then this head and neck relationship, which again, if the posture's slouched, then the chin is usually a little up and we're pinching off the nerve flow here in the back of the head and neck. So getting this relationship, pelvis, neutral, chin slightly down, base of neck and skull open, crown slightly up. So that's what they call in Tai Chi practice zhongjung, or central upright. So we have to do something usually. We have to apply a little effort to create our zhongjung, our central upright. And once you have done that, then you practice the next quality, which is chunwon, which means softening, relaxing, releasing as your means of finding stability. Stability. Because usually what we're doing is holding our body, looking for stability. We're tightening our shoulders, we're grabbing on. When we stand up, people usually are holding their hands like this or pulling their arms or grabbing behind. Tai Chi is all about relax, release, soften. So it's easy to practice that in our seated position. So make sure you've got zhongjung, central upright, hands on your thighs. Notice if your shoulders are shrugged up, relax them down, loosen them. Maybe even do one of these little chicken wing, kind of flap the arms, feel that looseness there. Do this with your legs, this little waggle, so that you feel looseness in the hips and down through the legs. So you want to find the quality of, the central pillar holds itself up. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to grab it. So these are key components to Tai Chi practice. What that does is it frees up movement, mobility. So any tension that I'm having when I stand up because it's a little scary and I feel imbalanced. Any tension is limiting mobility. So when you watch someone practice Tai Chi, there's all this fluidity and floating and roundness, but it's because they've polished out those places of grip and hold. So that is a process. That's why we have to practice regularly these types of things. So first practice, sitting in your chair, sitting upright, trying to relax where you can. To assist with that, breathe in through the nose. Feel that expansion kind of stretching you open from the inside, and then breathe out through the mouth like a sigh. Feel that softening, that melting, that releasing. And then do it again. In through the nose. Holding. And out through the mouth like a sigh. Softening and relaxing. Please keep doing that. I'm going to let a couple people in here. So right out of the gate, we're practicing the underlying infrastructure for quality walking and movement through space. So this class is on walking, gait, and balance. So why are we sitting down? Shouldn't we just be standing up the whole time? But no, because in a safe environment on our chair, we want to find and calibrate to these ideas and then carry those up to the next level. So breathing in, long, smooth, and full. Holding full. Out through the mouth. Take that about 4 more times. You could do this on your own for 2 straight minutes, 5 straight minutes, and you'd be well served. But just try and get this idea that the body is made up of many, many movable, sliding, gliding liquid parts that as we age or as we deal with injury or illness, those areas get stuck together, they get glued together, they get sort of frozen. So the practice of breathing in, breathing out correctly is like a joint mobilization practice. It's expanding you, opening you up, and then melting and letting you consolidate and settle. And then you're opening and you're closing. Kind of primary life force practice is this jellyfish-like movement of our torso. So we've got those practices. Jongjang Chunwan. Then we have breathing in, breathing out. And that could be your whole practice for a day. But the next thing we do is joint mobilization. So first one is slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back. This opens the chest. Now lift the chest and chin and gently arch your back. Spinal extension. So you're doing a gentle back bend. Now slide your hands forward past your knees. Your chest hollows back. Drop your head all the way down in front. Spinal flexion, opening the back. And then do it again. Slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up. And slide hands forward, hollow the chest back, drop your head and round. And again. Inhaling as you arch. Exhaling as you round. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Then right? So we're just gently coaxing the moving parts to move. Now come back to neutral. Find that Jongjang. Ideally, you could feel a little more chunwon here because you've moved some of these deep places so that you can go and release some rust and barnacles that you moved. Now we move through the rotational plane, turning. Left hand forward, right hand and elbow back. As you turn to your right, turn your head, turn your shoulders. And then switch. We turn back to center. Right hand goes forward, left hand draws back, elbow back, turn. And back to center and turn. Retain this Taoist idea. The term is sung, S-U-N-G, sung, meaning soft, supple, pliable, resilient, but it's pliable, it's soft, which is different than atrophied soft. It's more supple like a young tree that can bend and move, right? So we're training our tissue and joints to have this quality of song rather than this brittleness that usually comes along. Turn and turn. And then back to center. Arms hang alongside you. Now lateral, sideways, lean. So notice the head and the spinal column creating kind of a C curve here. But the middle of you kind of stays organizing everything. The navel. Come back to center and lean. So this illustrates a point. A lot of times we have chest, shoulder, neck up here. We have this tension up here because when people stand up, they usually go, okay, get good posture, and they tighten up. But that makes us feel like if we were to lean this way with tension up here, we feel like we're going to fall. Whereas when this is relaxed, we can totally bend and totally bend the other way. And we don't feel like we're uprooting off the ground and going to fall over. So this is this chunwon. We're softening and emptying and relaxing everything so that we feel grounded or stable because of this relationship to the ground, not because we're holding on to this structure. This is a very uniquely Taoist Tai Chi Qigong understanding. Now we add to that as you lean to your right, lift this left wrist, even lift the left foot, and kind of flirt with disaster just a little bit. Just kind of at the edge of your chair, somewhere in a safe environment, so you can just kind of play with that edge, and then change. Lean, kind of play with that edge there just a little bit. And so we're cultivating the middle pivot of the seesaw. Another uniquely Taoist understanding. That balance is found through freedom of movement of all the parts, like an octopus, around this space inside where everything is organized. So it's loose but not sloppy. We're not just sloppy and out of control, it's organized. And back to center. And then one more joint mobilization. Of course, there are many, but these are the main ones that are important. So the shoulder blades in the back. Most folk think of the shoulder as here, instead of understanding this plugs into a socket in a sliding bone called the scapula. So shoulder blades can shrug up and down. Do that again. Up and down. So the arms are along for the ride. So do that with me, please. Arms hanging down by your side, shrugging up, down. So feel how your arms, your fingertips lift away from the floor, but not because you're doing something in the arms. The arms are loose and you're moving the shoulder blades. The other thing the shoulder blades can do is slide together, like you're cracking a walnut, and slide apart. It's called retraction and protraction. Retract, protract. Now when you're protracted, lift up. Then stay lifted up, go back over top, squeeze back, slide down the back, underneath, under, and forward again, up, over top, back, down the back, underneath, forward, and up. We are unpacking, cleaning out the space that's potentially available in this chest, shoulder, upper back, neck that for most people have become glued, stuck, and shut. Loose, soft, supple quality. Now reverse. We go back, up, over top, forward, down, back, up, over top, forward, and down. Back, up, over top, forward, down. Back, over top. And when you're first learning this, a big part of it is just the brain being able to tell the parts to do the movement. But once you get that, right, then you can start practicing the subtler qualities of soft, supple, fluid movement, right? And release. And then arms float up in front and then just swing. Swing. So this teaches us this quality we want. Notice this difference here. So here's me stiffening and holding my arms and moving them, right? That's one option, but that's me holding the whole time versus let go. Let go. So this is this quality of loose that we want to look for instead of held. So, and they call these exercises shuaisho, or throwing arms. Throwing arms. Because they teach us to let go where we habitually hold on for dear life, right? And relax. And then just a couple things with the legs before we stand up. So scoot a little bit back on your chair so you feel very sturdy. Load. Lift your right knee and pull your right heel in close to your buttocks. So see, it's like a loaded spring. And then push. And then reload. Set the foot down. Other leg, load it, push it, load it, set it down. Other leg, load and push, load, down. Make sure you're going to the ends of the range of motion, all the way loaded, all the way extended, all the way loaded, and down. So we're clearing the pathway of movement. One more. And then finally, straighten your right leg out, point the foot, flex the foot a couple times. Freedom of movement. The foot needs to be free to move. And then invert, evert. So this tilt of the foot, notice my leg isn't moving, but my foot is tipping and tilting, called inversion, eversion. Inversion, eversion. Now we circle. In, point, out, flex. In, point, out, flex. We circle. Reverse. Around the other way. And switch. Point and flex. I always think of when we're doing these exercises, it's like, let's go ahead to the invert, evert, tilt in, tilt out, tilt in. It's like when you're sitting on the plane and you're waiting for the plane to take off and you're wondering what they're doing things like this. They're checking the various flaps, they're trying this gear and whatnot, and they're just getting everything sort of tuned before they try to take off. Go ahead and circle the foot. And they do that every time before they fly, right? Go ahead and reverse. We're just checking all the parts, connecting the brain to all the corresponding parts. And down. Scoot forward to that front edge one more time. Last thing with the legs here, we go a little wider than hip distance. Lift the toes so the heels are touching the ground. Now turn on the heels, turn the toes and the knees in. Internally rotating at the hip socket, the groin area. Then lift your toes, turn on the heels, turn out. So you feel this open space. And then turn in. And turn out. Pelvis, spine, rib cage, neck, head, shoulders, everything is kind of not moving at all. And we want to feel freedom of movement at this relationship place, what the Tai Chi folk call the qua. Very important space that, again, can get stuck, can get frozen, can get tied up. And so we're opening and closing it so that we start to feel freedom of movement here. This includes our lower back as well. And then legs to neutral. From that same qua space, fold. So now the legs are not the moving part. The pelvis is the moving part. Sit upright. Lean a little bit back from the pelvic leg space, the qua. Sit upright and fold forward from the qua. So your 24 vertebrae of your spine are not rounding or arching. They're along for the ride. So because we found this pivot point to move from, when we fold there, the head, the shoulders, the spine, everything goes forward. When we sit upright, it comes along for the ride. We lean back. So it's a very efficient way of moving rather than trying to control the head, the cervical spine, every vertebra and do something there. All we got to do is relax and then move from the correct place. And sit vertical. Now, using everything we've just gone over, we went arms loose, we have qua, we've got relaxed and supple legs, right, in general. Now we slide the feet back a little, arms stay loose, chest, shoulders stay empty and relaxed, fold. Arms and shoulders and head in front of your ankles, forward out of the chair and stand all the way up. Now, as you stand up, note that usually we go, okay, I'm up, grab on. Try not to do that. Stay very loose, stay very relaxed. Let it be like a draining down through underneath you. That Chun One. So Zhong Zheng, vertical upright. Chun One, softening, relaxing for finding stability rather than tightening. Okay. Now to sit, we hip hinge. Notice how my butt went behind my ankles. My arms and shoulders are here. I'm not grabbing on like that. I'm loose. And then just fold the parts till your butt finds the chair. And then sit upright. Stay loose. Stay relaxed. Note you don't need to use force. Think of this as a technique, right? Precision of technique to stand up. Precision of technique, hip hinge, stay relaxed, fold everything, sit, and come down. Again, fold, stand, stay loose. Now, don't sit in your chair this time, but do everything the same. Use this like you're going to try to touch your toes by sinking the butt and dangling the hands down. Maybe you can even touch the floor. And then just push through the earth and rise. So we all know what an accordion is. An accordion and how an accordion can close and open. So have that vision in your mind now. If you took an accordion and laid one end on the ground and one end was high, and you closed it down and opened it like this, that's what our Tai Chi squat should feel like. So in fitness, there's a lot of tension and weightlifting going on. And when they squat, there's tension through the body. But this Tai Chi squat, think of it as a softening and a sinking, and this opens our back. This opens things up. We fold everything together and then push through the earth and just feel this stack, stack, stack as you stand back up. Loose and relaxed, and yet with great alignment. So again, this helps us become more sung, more soft. Do it again. And maybe the knees or the back only wants you to go about here. That's fine. But just notice that you, over time, if you do the technique right, you can really get close to the earth. And then you can come all the way back up. And this pumps and flushes and loosens up these relationships between the parts. Sink. So it's called the Tai Chi squat, where the emphasis is on folding and gliding and softening these parts, these relationships. All right, now we are standing. You got your chair on the right. Step over to it and face that chair. Fingertips on the chair. Now your foot, if you look at my foot or look at your own foot, you have more foot in front of your ankle than you do behind. That's just how we are built. So now notice this. I can tip forward and be in my toes. I'm not using my chair, but the chair is there. So this little tipping forward, and then come back to vertical. And then here's where you definitely want to have the chair for safety. Try to go a little bit extra into your heels. A little bit extra into the heels. But watch my body for a moment. Notice how I'm not doing this to go into my heels. From the middle, back a little bit. So as I go back to the heels, my head and shoulders stay a little bit forward, and now the body has kind of a C shape, you could say, right? So you're moving your middle back, and then moving your middle forward, and moving your middle back, and moving your middle forward. So again, this helps us feel a little more free, a little looser. It's at first a little scary to play with this, but then over time you go, oh, I can do that and stay grounded, stay connected to the earth. The looser and more relaxed you are, the freer you are to do this. Now be safe with this one. Now, come forward into your toes, fingers on the chair. Lift your heels off the ground. So now you're in your tippy toes. And then come down with the heels, rock back into the heels and lift the toes, but keep your hands on the chair for safety. And then down with the toes and rock forward into the toes. Lift the heels up. Lower the heels down. Rock back into the heels, lift the toes up. Toes down, rock forward. Eventually you'll be able to do this with no hands, but keep the hands there for safety. Keep the hands for safety. Right? So safety obviously most important, right? And pause. Now, heels of hands on your chair, walk the feet back. Now, just watch me first. From here, I hip hinge at the hip crease. So legs straight as they can be. If there's a little bend, that's fine. But hip hinge, you get a stretch to the legs, stretch to the back. Arms are straight. So go ahead and join me here. This is basically downward facing dog from yoga. But we really want to stretch the back sheath of the body that tends to get very stuck and tight. And then chest up as you kind of come out of the posture for a moment. And then go back in. To do in your kitchen, when you're waiting for your tea kettle, you just place your hands on the counter. And you fold and just clear out where the body's getting congested and stagnant. And then let's lift the chest up, the hips come a little forward, and we walk forward again until you are zhongjang vertical. Walk forward, vertical. Turn and face forward. Take a small step back so that chair is in front of you and to the right of you, so it's within reach. And then level 1 of this exercise, no hands. So just stand. Now from your middle pivot, this navel area, this level of your body, change the weight over more to your right leg so that your left leg, you feel a distinct emptying or lightening or softening, and then change. So now the weight goes more through your other leg, and you feel your other leg open up a little bit, kind of gets spacious. And then you change the weight. And you change the weight. Now, we're not lifting the heel, we're not doing anything with the foot overtly. We're not pulling it off the ground in any way. But what you want to try and feel is how one foot, you want to let all the weight pierce the ground through one foot, and the other one becomes so empty that you could almost slide a piece of paper underneath the foot without picking it up at all. It just softens and kind of floats. So create this is like a basic walking practice, and this helps tune us into this middle pivot, because many times we're stuck here, and then people move from up here to try to change their weight, but it's not happening, versus you find this middle pivot and you connect down. Now, the other important thing to feel is that your legs are not stilts. You're not a pirate with peg legs, but that's a lot of times how we're using our leg. We go over to one leg and then we lock it up to look for stability instead of soften it. So see this bendability of this leg, right? I'm not using this leg, I am using this leg, and it's its bendability that gives me that connection to the earth. So each time you go into one leg, see if you can find a little of that bendability, and then change to the other leg and see if you can find that little, again, I'm not saying force bend so your knee gets pissed off, but I am saying just find this soft connection down to the earth. And then a soft connection down to the earth. And this is a great practice when you're at the coffee shop in line waiting. You can just kind of secretly be doing Tai Chi. You just kind of hang out over here for a couple of breaths. Then you hang out over here. And a lot of times people report exhaustion. I can't stand somewhere for very long. A lot of times that's because we're locking both legs, we're gripped here in our middle. But what you can do, and this works across the board, is if you're waiting somewhere, you spend some time in one leg, you're letting this leg be on vacation. It's relaxed. And then you change. And so now this one's going to the office, this one's on vacation, and you can hang out here for a little while and be waiting for something to happen. And then this one gets a little tired, so you just go over to this side. So use this technique to do secret Tai Chi out in your life, and it also helps you have a little bit more stamina. Next level of the practice, put the weight into your left leg, your right foot should be empty. Now lift the heel and get to the tip of the shoe. Here's your chair in case you start to lose balance, but tip of the shoe. Put the heel back down, change the weight. Once your left foot is empty, lift the heel, get to the very tip of the shoe. So you can see with me, my foot is so empty that I'm really not even in my shoe, whereas a lot of times you'll do it and you'll still be 10% or so in the toes of that foot. So what you want to look for is, can you really get to the very tip where it's just the tip of your shoe touching, and then you put the heel down without any weight in it, then from your middle, change. Once you change, then you go lift and lower. Change. You wait until you're fully in this leg, then it's lift, lower. Change. Lift and lower. Do that again, please. Got to mute you, Janet. Sorry. Okay. The next level of this practice, put the weight in your left leg, get to the tip of that shoe. Now you're going to probably need the chair, disconnect from the floor, right? So the moment we do that, if we have any weight in that foot, we pull and then we start to lose our balance. So the key of 100 and 0, and when this is truly empty, it floats like a feather. It's empty. Put it down while still empty. So the other thing is when we put it down, we usually kerplunk. So put that foot down empty, change from your middle pivot, get to the tip of this other foot, disconnect, empty, reconnect, empty, change, middle pivot, disconnect, reconnect, change from your middle pivot, tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect, change, float, land, change. Now, Zhongjung is still intact. So when I lift this foot, notice that I'm not doing that, right? Keeping the vertical, but not through grabbing the body, by relaxing it. So much so that down through this leg, this is empty. So now we go to level, I guess it'd be 4 for this one. Put the weight through your right leg. Now, use the chair and see, can you get all the way up to this loaded position? I'll turn sideways so you can see this hip hinge. Now the key here is relaxed knee, relaxed foot, empty hip, and then lower the whole leg without any weight. Change your weight down through this bendable, sturdy, supple leg. Tippy toe, use the chair for safety so that you go all the way as high as that knee can go. And notice if the teacup is spilling off to the side, see if you can find that Zhongjung. Soft and long through the leg, down to the earth. From your middle pivot, change, down through the right leg. As this leg is empty, it can fold. It's free, it's loose. So another saying in Tai Chi, 1 full, 3 empty. 1 full, 1, 2, 3 empty. So there's Tai Chi positions, right, where these free octopus tentacles are there, but you have to get full to be empty. And down. Change. And down. Now, we go to the next set of exercises, which are based on this. Take a little step further back, so your chair is out in front of you to the right. Put your body weight down through your left leg, your right foot now empty. So I'm going to turn a little bit to the side so you can see some of the angles. Right foot in front, heel touching the ground. So this foot is empty. Now, as I shift into that leg, the primary direction is down through the bendable leg. So as you go down through your bendable leg, can you get to the tippy toe of the foot that's behind you? Tippy toe. And then the primary direction is down as you shift into the leg in the back. So we just moved a few inches forward, a few inches backwards, but you don't think forward, back, you think down. Then you think down. So the Zhongjung, keeping its vertical relationship to the earth as you move forward, backward, forward, backward. It's very easy to think forward, and now we're over our skis, or backward, and we're over our skis. So it's simpler than that. It's just down, down. We got to be loose, got to be relaxed, but got to have integrity of structure. Back. That's level 1. Now level 2. Stay in your back leg, fingertips on the chair for safety, your front leg being empty. Lift. Touch the heel back to the ground. Shift.
Okay.
Now this back leg being empty, flamingo. Just bend the knee. Touch the toe down. Shift back. From the hip, straight leg lift. Lower. Shift. So we're training, are you really 100% and 0? And this tells you, if as you lift this up, your body goes into chaos, you weren't actually 100 and 0. Down. Shift. Right? Because if I still have weight here, when I go to pull it up, I got to yank on it instead of have it be so empty that it floats. That it floats. Shift. Have this be so empty, because this is so full, that it floats. No problem. Right? It's empty. Shift back. Lift. Lower. Shift. Flamingo. Down. Shift. Now finally, level 3 of this exercise, you probably need the chair for this. Knee up, like we did before. Heel softly down. Shift. This back leg, knee forward and up, like you're going to step up on a high curve, but don't, and step back behind you, still empty, and then shift. And then this right leg, again, up, down, shift. Back leg, forward and up, back, touch soft, shift. Up, down, shift. Forward and up, reach it back, shift. One more. So this recognition that the emptiness is powerful. We can only have the emptiness by getting the fullness, but once this is empty, it's light, it's limber, it's powerful, it can move, it's free to move without disturbing your equilibrium. Changing sides. So to get to the other side, empty your left foot, side step, shift over onto it. Now you should be close enough to your other chair, bring the other foot in, and let's set up, put the weight in your right leg, left foot out in front, left heel touching softly on the ground. Remember, primary direction is down, and it's a releasing down. Just softening down through the left, softening down through your right. We're moving forwards in space, but you don't have to think about it. You don't have to try and do it. You just relax. And the forward happens appropriately. The backward happens appropriately. Relaxed shoulders. Relaxed hands, wrists, arms. Loose, casual, limber, supple, spring-loaded. Now, use the chair as needed for lift, lower, shift. Once the back foot's truly empty, then bend knee, touch toe, shift. So we're going test, test, shift. Bend the knee, touch the toe, shift. Zhong, which is central upright. Chun One, meaning soften as your means of finding stability. Softening down through, connecting to the ground. Then, that looseness, what they call Qing Ling, is available. Lightness, nimbleness, freedom of movement. And then finally, level 3, where again, use the chair so you can go down. When the leg goes down, keep that crown up, shift. Then this back leg, forward and up. Stay right where you are, reach that loose and relaxed foot behind, change back. So it's all organized around this middle. The middle is what we learn to rely on. that organizes the vertical, organizes the front to back, organizes us when we rotate and turn. Getting looser, looser, and looser. Last. And settle a little bit more. Now stay as you are. Again, so that I can really fill in my space, I make some adjustments, but you should be, if you set up like I had you set up, you should be good to go. So now, facing this way, we step over to the far left side of your space, and then turn and face across. So now you have this big runway out in front of you, right? And the chairs are on your left so that they're there should you need them for safety. And now we just work on 5, 6 steps in one direction, 5, 6 backward steps. So put your weight in your right leg, empty your left foot, and put it in front of you like so. Now do that little shift. Get to where the weight goes down through your right leg, your left foot is empty, and then just step it in front. Empty. Put the heel there, empty, and then shift. Remember, the primary direction is down. So I step this foot out empty, and then you go down, down to the earth. This being empty, that's the power of it, it's free. Down. Step. Down. Now we go backwards, down. Be careful going backwards, know where your chairs are. Now your front foot being empty, bring it behind and touch the empty toe, and then down. Empty this front foot. Step the empty foot back behind you, down. Once you got the down, full, empty, the emptiness is its power to step. Down. Step. Down. And then down. Make sure you don't what we'll call premature stepping. That means you're about 80-20 and then you use force to yank your foot and throw it out there, and then that forces the body to sort of clumsily clod hop your way instead of truly separating yin and yang, separating empty and full. So you be patient enough to go down, 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 100, 0, step. Keeping it 0, keeping it like a cloud. So the other poetic terminology, mountain and cloud. So now this right leg becomes the mountain. Left foot being a cloud, clouds are free, loose. And then turn the left leg into that cloud, mountain, and the right leg is a cloud. And now the cloud can step. So the alternative is what they call double weightedness, where both legs are mountains and then we're going boom, 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 right? Now we go backwards. So say in your mind, which one is your mountain, which one is the cloud, step the cloud. Then change that. So other mountain, other cloud, step. Step. Down. Down. Now we're going to take this up one notch of challenge. So watch what I do here, and then you'll join me. So I'm going cloud, mountain. Now the cloud foot, very small obstacle, but picture yourself stepping up over something. And then shift. So this foot has to come up a little bit, over something a little bit, down without body weight, and then change. So it's like there's a Lego on the floor and you have to go over it without losing your balance. And then change. Make sure you know which one is your mountain. Feel the cloud quality that allows you to float that foot and land it still like a cloud before then transforming it to the mountain. and then step the cloud, transform it to a mountain. We go backwards, be careful going backwards, but it's mountain, then up a little, tuck the foot, reach the toe, find the floor, and remember to stay close together. Look, my feet are not, I'm not taking huge steps. Keep it close. Eventually you can take bigger steps, but make sure you're getting this relaxed relationship to the earth. Down. Remember, it's down, not back. So you're just staying vertical, connecting to the earth down. Stay vertical, connect to the earth down. Let's do that one more time. Now, if that was too much for you, go back to the first variation where it's just walking. Maybe it's 2 Legos stacked on top of each other, right? So we, over time, challenge what obstacle, the size of it that you have to get over. But if you're yanking the limb to do it, you're not training the correct, precise technique, because this is a technique of how to operate this vehicle that is our body. Notice your arms, can you relax them? Shoulders, can you relax them? Learn to find trust in softness. That doesn't mean sloppy or weak. It means pliable, resilient, spacious. You go backwards. Great job, everybody. And then we're going to look at one that is a little bit, I think this is newish for all of you, because some of you it's your first day, some of you, you've been here for a while. And we've done this before, but I just want to bring this up just to give this sort of a new bit as well. So we're not going to do any sideways or rotational movement today, but we normally get into that. But what we're doing here, and just watch me for a moment. So this is like casual walking, right? We're just moving and we're relaxed and we're just kind of flowing. This, I have an empty foot and now I'm advancing, right? So there's this, I use the term ballistic, a ballistic movement, and then push off. So in like, let's say boxing, when you're gonna advance on someone, you don't advance like this when you're boxing. You're in your spring-loaded legs and you're pushing, right? You're advancing with this movement. So it's a way the body is built to use. Or in basketball or something on defense, you're pushing and pushing. So there's this way that the body has a boom, a ballistic quality. The key, though, is that it's still down. So when I go here, if I think forward, I can fall over myself instead of when I advance. Sorry, someone's just showing up. When I advance forward, I actually am thinking down to the earth. And also going backwards, I'm thinking down to the earth, right? So get to where your chair is on your right. It's out in front of you. Therefore, you need it. Now you empty this front foot. So instead of us just melting into it, you now feel the loaded, spring-loaded quality, push off and advance. And let your back foot slide in. Now this back foot is empty. Front leg is your spring-loaded leg. Push off and retreat. Okay? So there's a moment of floating, you could say. Doing it again. We're floating forward. There's some momentum that we have to learn to take down to the earth or let go down to the earth. Same thing that way. There's momentum down to the earth. One foot becomes full, this empty. Back. Forward. We're retreating. We're advancing. And remember, down. So feel it just go down. Down. Spring. Full empty. full empty, full empty, full empty. Middle pivot. That's where the stillness that we're looking for, the stability you could call it, but it's more like spacious, free stillness. Forward, back. So over time, this can speed up. You can do 2 in a row forward, 2 in a row back, right? That kind of idea. But it's a pretty athletic movement that hopefully you're getting a feeling for. It doesn't require you to be some overly built athlete to use this. Swiftly forward, swiftly back. If you're connected to the earth with softness. Forward, back. Now we switch sides. So go over to your other side. Get back somewhat. Chair's there for safety. Put the weight in your right leg, your left foot out in front. Empty. Its emptiness is its freedom to go forward. And then you're pushing off that full leg like a spring, a ballistic movement to go push. And then push. Forward, backward, forward, back, forward, back. Learning how to take that momentum that you're generating power from the spring-loadedness, and how to not let it, like a runaway train, take you off your connection to the ground, but rather how to not even lose the connection to the ground throughout. So at first as well, what it feels like is that we're uprooting ourselves, moving, and then rerooting ourselves, right? At first, that's the sensation of, oh, I've disconnected from my root. Ideally, I reconnect. But eventually, you never lose this connection feeling to the ground, because the body's so loose, free, and light that you're just going, oh, forward, backward, advance, retreat. The more relaxed you are, the more everything just stays in perfect relationship with each other. You don't have to be holding and doing all kinds of technique. It's just take it easy, relax, and stay connected to the earth. All right. We finish arms alongside you. Open, float the arms out and up. Now tip a little bit into your toes. Sweep the arms around in front, palms face up. So it looks a little like this. You're in your toes a little bit, your hands are out in front. Now rock back just a little bit into your heels. Don't get yourself in trouble, but bring the hands back like you're bringing something in the mouth, in. And then settle to the middle of your feet, your hands settle right to your navel. And then remember your Tai Chi squat from the beginning, where we hip hinge a little bit, and then just sink. Release down. And then push through the earth, stand back up, arms loose as butter, loose as cooked noodles. And then we rock a little bit to the heels, open and lift. That's the first gesture, right? So you're a little bit in your heels, arms are out. Then a little bit into your toes, arms sweep around in a gathering gesture, palms face up. Then a little bit into your heels, hands come in, as if bringing in the mouth. Then settle to the middle of your feet as your hands settle to the middle of your body, middle belly. And then this hip hinge, think of this as hollowing the front, right? So hollow, and that opens up the space for you to do this Tai Chi squat, this mechanism. Sit the butt and feel that spring loading. You're loading up the spring of the body. And then just push through the earth and rise, soft, loose, and relaxed. We do that one more time. So this is like combing out any final tangles in the hair, right? We're just going chi floating through these channels, sliding. Then we're closing, The nerves flowing through the pathways. Bring the hands back as if in the mouth. Settle to the middle. Hollow the front to open space for that sink. And then rise. And then finally, wings. Turn your palms up. Fold at the elbows, the hands come over top. Settle, 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 settle. Turn your palms to face the belly button. This is called middle embrace. The idea here, the sort of poetic imagery, is all the exercises we do take the life force from the nest or the battery and express it out into the body, but then we want to return it. We want to settle it back into the battery. So we're letting that happen. And then finally, we close the practice. Here's the belly button, the center of your palm right on top. And then the other hand, center palm on the back of the center palm. So this gesture is this sealing, closing, and finishing. Kind of, I always think of it like a wine, a cork in a wine barrel or a wine bottle. It's like this closing, sealing bit. And we just let everything relax, be at ease. If possible, even close the eyes. And notice how that has an effect on your chi, your life force. So when your eyes are open, looking at a teacher saying, what are we doing? That's one expression of our chi. But when we're done with that, can we close it down? Can we return it to rest? It's like taking a nap. We want to be very good at, it's nap time. Go lay down and drop right into nestled, resting. Yin, yin as opposed to yang. Right? Final 3 breaths here to see if you can get that feeling, that sentiment of rest, nourish, eat. And then we close with this Taoist hand position. One hand open, other hand grab the thumb, fold the hand over top. So see that symbol, that yin-yang looking symbol. So as you do this, there's this closing, this idea of the merging of the polar opposites around the middle pivot. And that little bow. All right, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, comments, or insights, please share. Thank you.